This video, I'm gonna talk about whether or not I believe that Mike Tyson is a master. So, like a master in boxing, do I think that he's a master? It's not like a knock in Mike Tyson, but my vision of a master is somebody who trains hard and continuously reaches a high level throughout their entire life, not just for a short period of time of like when they are at their peak. So there's like no retirement, you know, for me when it comes to being a master. You just train hard till you die. And obviously, he achieved a lot of great things um, during his professional career, but there were the downfalls, and started with, I would say, probably started when Custom Model died. He kind of lost that spiritual guidance that he really needed, and that father figure that really kept him on the path. I don't think there would have been a Mike Tyson as successful as he was without Custom Model, because Custom Model is not just his coach, but it's pretty much like his father and his spiritual guide. And like that's what really made him like extremely successful, I would say. And when Custom Model passed away, he just lost his path. It's kind of like a martial artist that loses the path of the Tao. So I say that that's essentially where his downfall started. And then after he lost to Buster Douglas, then it just kept going. It got worse from there. Um, I think that Mike Tyson was definitely a hard worker, but he needed proper guidance in order to get to where he was, and then to also stay um, in top of his game and continue to succeed. But his main leader just passed away, and then he lost his path. So I think it comes like, to me, is body, mind, and spirit. And I feel that the spirit and the mind part was from Custom Model, and then that was transferred on to Mike Tyson to represent the body aspect of it. So, in short, I would say, in my opinion, that Mike Tyson is not a master because of my perceived idea of the master representing somebody who's reached a high level for the entirety of his life, and is really, in a way, developed spiritually within himself, opposed to depending on another human or another person to basically be responsible for his spiritual growth and his intellectual growth and even his physical growth. So in my eyes, it'd be like if Bruce Lee was still living, and he passed away at 32, but say he didn't pass away and he just kept living and training, and then say hypothetically he's at the age of 70 right now, and then, or 60, and then he would represent a really high level at the age of 60, still training hard. And even if he had to fight or spar against somebody who's 30 years younger at the age of 30, he would still perform very well and kind of outdo the 30-year-old. Um, I'm not 60 myself, but I would say that would be the ideal, to kind of strive towards that, where you're just continuously representing a high level despite the age. At my age, at 43, it's like me sparring against 13-year-old, and then me, in my eyes, it'd be easy to just kind of dominate a 13-year-old. Well, still a child, but say I'm 40, 48, and then I'm going against an 18-year-old, I should still be able to dominate the 18-year-old if I'm training hard. So say I'm 50 and I'm going against somebody who's 20 and I'm still dominating the 20-year-old. Say I'm 60 and I'm going against somebody who's 30 and I still dominate the 30-year-old. It's like easier said than done, but these are just ideals that to strive for and to live by and to envision as a possibility of something that can occur. So boxing is not martial arts. So there are talented boxers throughout the ages, but it lacks the spiritual growth, and also the concussions result in a lot of brain damage. So their intellectual growth is not there. Their spiritual growth is not there because they're fighting, for fame and money and ego. And that's going against the spiritual. The spiritual's not there, the intellectual's not there because of the concussions. So they're left with the physical expression, but then even the physical expression is very limited because it's not truly martial arts, because it's just a sport. It's just, the hands, and not just the hands, but then, they're using the gloves and they got all the rules. So it doesn't have the components of what a real martial arts expression would, lacking the intelligence and lacking the spiritual. So that's why you see a lot of boxers that are not, essentially not good role models. They don't have the full development that's required to be developed within a martial artist. So Bruce Lee would be an example of the development of a martial artist. Strong body, strong mind, strong spirit. He's guided by the Tao. Very intelligent person. Wasn't in the combat sports, so he didn't have to suffer all those concussions. Read a lot of books. It said that he owned about 2,000 books when he passed away. Constantly reading, and then he wrote books. And the things that he wrote, you could see a lot of intelligence in it. He conducted interviews. When you see the interviews, you see his intelligence. And if you read his books, you'll see a lot of Eastern philosophy. And he was a very meditative person. And then his physical level, just an extreme level of athleticism, his skill, his speed, his execution of the techniques. So he's representing all the facets of what like a real martial artist would represent, in addition to, representing the body, mind, and spirit in its totality. So in my opinion, I would say someone like Floyd Mayweather Jr. may potentially be considered maybe a master of the boxing, maybe for his life, if he could keep up with his training. So if he's retired now and he's 50 and he didn't even lose one match officially. So he aimed for perfection in his career and he achieved it. And then he's retired, but then sometimes he does exhibition bouts every so often, and he's won all of those. And I don't know exactly what age he is, but right now he's in his 40s. If he continues to keep training hard and then still does well at 50 and then age 60, I bet you if some 30-year-old challenged him at the age of 60 and he comes out and wins that one, unlike what happened with Tyson, then that's showing that he continues training, working hard even after retirement. And then that would be more of like a real life symbol of somebody who is a master of boxing. Whereas Mike Tyson, on the other hand, to me, he kind of lost his discipline when he lost Customato. And I feel like Customato is the one who gave him the discipline to achieve what he was able to achieve. But because Customato passed away, he just lost the discipline and, was never able to recover back to what he was while Customato was living. Floyd Mayweather Jr., I don't know how much of his own father was influence to his career, but I'm sure a lot of it was from his father. So his father's there for him throughout his entire life and is still living. So his father's able to help him and all of his team around him to be able to achieve what he achieved, and then even after retirement still working hard and representing someone at a very high level. So I would say that he would be an example of a master. Someone like Michael Jordan was, in my eyes, like maybe the greatest of all time, in the NBA during his career, but it doesn't mean that he's continually training hard to continue to represent a high level in basketball. If he is, and he continues to do that, then that would be an example of a master in basketball, not just during his career, but during his entire life. And I would use LeBron James as another example. His longevity is something that I admire, and I see, a lot of people that entered the NBA, before him, or during when he entered it, and even after he's entered it, a lot of them is retired already, but he's not. LeBron's still playing, and he's still playing at a high level, still considered one of the greatest. So I would say being a master is that would be kind of like something like that, where you are so good for so long. It's like he was born into it. He just kept working hard, and then he goes to the NBA, achieves all these things, and he's been playing for so long and still representing a high level. And say he retires, and say he keeps training hard and still represents a high level. And even at the age of 60, he's still dominating players at the age of 30. Then I would say that would be another example of a master in basketball, a master in boxing, potentially Floyd Mayweather Jr. Because not only is he still doing well right now after retirement, but during his career he was perfect. So just imagine a martial artist. Imagine someone like Bruce Lee, who does not pass away at 32, but continues to train hard for the rest of his life, and then always representing a high level. At the age of 70, he's still outdoing people easily. At the age of 40, at the age of 80, he's outdoing people at the age of 50, so on and so forth. Just continually working hard, and that to me is something worth striving for, that obviously very few people in this world achieve, especially on a physical level. But just imagine somebody who's really good at chess, and then they play for their entire lives. They don't go a day without playing, and they're constantly playing and competing and working hard. And then even at the age of 90, they're beating people like no problem. Or a game that's not so physical, not so physically demanding, something like bowling. Say somebody who just keeps bowling and for his whole life, and then even at the age of 60, he's destroying a lot of people. Age 70, still beating a lot of people. Or the game of billiards, just plays for his whole life, and then at the age of 60, still beating people no problem, no matter their age. So it's just, imagine applying that discipline to the martial arts, body, mind, and spirit. Somebody who's trained for his entire life, always fit, always capable in defending themselves. Their wisdom is growing through time, their intelligence is growing, and they just keep evolving in in one way or another in these three aspects. It's tough to imagine that, because we live in a culture where it's all like short-term hard work, but not long-term hard work. Like even like Simone Biles being like the greatest of all time in gymnastics, achieving all that she's achieved. But imagine she keeps training hard even after retirement, and then she still keeps representing an extremely high level in gymnastics of which a lot of people half her age cannot even represent. So say she's 60 years old and still doing all these things that a 30-year-old cannot do, then she would be considered another, in my eyes, a master of her craft. So, or look at something like dancing, which is not necessarily have to be competitive, but just an artistic expression of dance that somebody just keeps doing for their entire lives, and even at the age of 70 they're doing things that even 40 or 30-year-olds, a lot of them, cannot do because they've put in so much time into it. So in short, I would say Mike Tyson was definitely a very talented boxer, maybe one of the greatest of all time, but I would say, according to that assessment that I just specified, he would not be a master of the boxing. That would be held to another realm of individuals that, beyond just their career. It's even after the career. What are they doing after their career? Are they still training hard, working hard, representing a high level within the art or sport of which they supposedly love?